Penguin Random House Audio presents The Midnight Line, a Jack Reacher novel by Lee Child. Read for you by Dick Hill. 1. Jack Reacher and Michelle Chang spent 3 days in Milwaukee. On the 4th morning, she was gone. Reacher came back to the room with coffee and found a note on his pillow. He had seen such notes before. They all said the same thing, either directly or indirectly. Chang's note was indirect. She had written, "You're like New York City. I love to visit, but I could never live there." He did what he always did. He let her go. He understood. No apology required. He couldn't live anywhere. His whole life was a visit. Who could put up with that? He drank his coffee, and then hers, and took his toothbrush from the bathroom glass and walked away, toward the bus depot. At the depot, he did what he always did. He bought a ticket for the first bus out, no matter where it was going, which turned out to be an end-of-the-line place way north and west. He sat and watched out the window. Wisconsin flashed by. It was the end of summer. So he got on the bus to the end-of-the-line place, and he would have ridden it all the way because rules were rules, except he took a stroll at the second comfort stop, and he saw a ring in a pawnshop window. The second comfort stop came late in the day, and it was on the sad side of a small town, possibly a seat of county government. Maybe the county police department was headquartered there. There was a jail in town, that was clear. Reacher could see bail bond offices and a pawn shop. He was stiff from sitting. He scanned the street beyond the restroom block. He started walking toward it. No real reason, just strolling, just loosening up. As he got closer, he counted the guitars in the pawn shop window. 7. Sad stories, all of them. Lower down in the window were glass shelves loaded with smaller stuff. All kinds of jewelry, including rings, including class rings. All kinds of high schools. Except one of them wasn't. One of them was West Point 2005. It was a handsome ring. It was a conventional shape and a conventional style with intricate gold filigree and a black stone, maybe semi-precious, maybe glass, surrounded by an oval hoop that had West Point around the top and 2005 around the bottom. It was a very small ring. Reacher wouldn't have gotten it on any of his fingers, not even his left-hand pinky, not even past the nail. It was tiny. It was a woman's ring. Reacher opened the pawn shop door. He stepped inside. A guy at the register looked up. He said, "How's it going?" "Can't complain," he said. "Can I help you?" "Show me your class rings." The guy threaded the tray backward off the shelf. He put it on the counter. The West Point ring had rolled over like a tiny golf ball. Reacher picked it up. It was engraved inside. It was the real deal. A cadet's own ring, earned over 4 hard years, worn with pride. Obviously, if you weren't proud of the place, you didn't buy a ring. It wasn't compulsory. The engraving said SRS 2005. The bus blew its horn 3 times. It was ready to go, but it was a passenger short. Reacher put the ring down and said thank you and walked out of the store. He hustled back past the restroom block and leaned in the door of the bus and said to the driver, "I'm staying here." "No refunds?" "Not looking for one." "You got a bag in the hold?" "No bag." "Have a nice day." The guy pulled the lever, and the door sucked shut in Reacher's face. The engine roared, and the bus moved off. He turned away from the diesel smoke and walked back toward the pawn shop. 2. The guy in the pawn shop got the ring tray out again and placed it in the same spot on the counter. The West Point ring had rolled over again. Reacher picked it up. He said, "Do you remember the woman who pawned this?" "You a cop?" the guy said. "Nope," Reacher said. "Everything in here is legal." "I don't care. All I want is the name of the woman who brought you this ring." "Why?" "We went to the same school." "Where's that? Upstate?" "East of here," Reacher said. "You, can't be a classmate. Not from 2005. No offense." "None taken. I was from an earlier generation. But the place doesn't change much, which means I know how hard she worked for this ring. So now I'm wondering what kind of unlucky circumstance made her give it up." The guy said, "What kind of a school was it?" "They teach you practical things." "Like a trade school?" "More or less." "Maybe she died in an accident." "Maybe she did," Reacher said. Or not in an accident, he thought. There had been Iraq, and there had been Afghanistan. 2005 had been a tough year to graduate. He said, "But I would like to know for sure." "Why?" the guy said again. "I can't tell you exactly." "Is it an honor thing?" "I guess it could be." "There was no woman. I bought that ring with a lot of other stuff." "When?" "About a month ago." "From who?" "I'm not going to tell you my business. Why should I?" Reacher said, "Suppose I buy the ring. It's $50. 30. 40. "Deal," Reacher said. "So now I'm entitled to know its provenance." "This ain't Sotheby's auction house." "Even so." The guy paused a beat. Then he said, "It was from a guy who helps out with a charity. People donate things and take the deduction. The guy gives them an inflated receipt for their tax returns, and then he sells the things he gets wherever he can, for whatever he can, and then he cuts a check to the charity. I buy the small stuff from him." Reacher said, "Who is the charity guy?" "Exactly what kind of a school was that ring from?" Reacher said, "It was a military academy." "Those are for, excuse me, problem kids? Or disturbed? No offense." "Don't blame the kids," Reacher said. "Look at the families. Tell the truth, at our school there were a lot of parents who had killed people." "Really?" "More than the average." "So you stick together forever?" "We don't leave anyone behind." "The guy won't talk to a stranger." "Does he have no manners?" "I wouldn't ask him over to a picnic." "What's his name?" "Jimmy Rat." "For real?" "That's what he goes by." "Where would I find Mr. Rat?" "Look for a minimum 6 Harley-Davidsons. Jimmy will be in whatever bar they're outside of." 3. The town was relatively small. There were some boarded-up enterprises, but not many. Most stores were still doing business at a leisurely rural pace. It was getting dark. There was a bar in a standalone wooden building with a patch of weedy gravel for parking, and on the gravel were 7 Harley-Davidsons, all in a neat line. Apparently these particular guys liked to lay back and ride with their legs spread wide and their feet sticking out in front of them. The bikes were all painted dark, shiny colors, 4 with orange flames, 3 with rune-like symbols outlined in silver. A cop car rolled past, slowly, county police, showing the flag. The cop inside turned his head and gazed at Reacher. The guy was all squared away. He was sitting behind the wheel with a
Sample complete. Ready to continue?